Hi everyone, this is week 11 and 12 recap of my journey with volunteering at Godsway in Wilkesdale, Australia. So, I've been back from Sydney for 2 weeks now. So, for anyone who's following my journey, this is a recap of both of those weeks. The first week, I didn't get to volunteer, and I remember coming back from Sydney. I knew that I could feel I knew that I felt different. And yeah, I've actually had some really impactful, loving feedback from primarily Eloise, this week, I guess you could say. So I'll share that. That's been really insightful as well. I remember I moved into my new place the first week that I got back from Sydney. So that was 2 weeks ago. And I am currently living alone. I find that when I'm living alone, I'm really highlighted how sincere I am in what I say I want, because I can really see whether or not I actually do want to feel my feelings or do want to, do have the motivation to clean up after myself or essentially just do the things that I do when other people are around or when I'm staying with another person. So it's been very, yeah, I feel like I'm starting to really take notice of that now. Prior, I feel like I really sort of just let it be okay. It's like, oh, no one's watching. And this is all ways that I've hidden and not wanted to see my sin, which has been a very, very big revelation for me. Well, I've come to realize that I haven't wanted to see my sin. Like, actually come to realize that I feel like I've come to realize that in my heart and my soul, which I didn't have before. And so the first week back was quite challenging. Thankfully, I went along and participated last week, just gone. So it was really great because, Elle really just gave me some very direct feedback. And that was that, the body, I was doing the work that I was doing prior wasn't solely, but consisted of this kind of body work. And I remember thinking before coming here that was the direction that I was sort of feeling to take, and is sort of developing that further. And also at the same time, feeling a desire within me of, what is the truth around all of this. So I've engaged that sort of a couple of times with a couple of the people here, and that's what Elle actually spoke to me about this week, which was basically she just said it's really off, and I've written it down. She just said it's very unloving and it's very off, like offering to like massage someone. It's actually coming from the sexual issues that I have, that are very, very off. And so I've got these sexual issues where I also am then open to allowing myself to be engaged with spirits as well, that are also, like engaging with me, but also working through me. And it's essentially very unloving, to myself, but also to other people. It's kind of, I guess the way that you could, a description of it is probably the best way to give an example is, and I've never had this before, but this is the feeling that I get. It kind of is like a tantric massage, but it's not, I wouldn't have called it that, but I think that's kind of what it is. But it's like not clothes. It's not clothes off, and but it doesn't even have to be that. It's like the intention of it, the feeling of it, and it's not loving at all. So that is something that she, really brought up with me, and the feelings and issues around it are associated with power and control, wanting power over others. I think I've mentioned in one of my other videos, the feelings that I have is feelings of superiority, wanting power, competition with women, but the primary one with this is that's associated with it is a great power thing. And I've been really, I'm so glad that it actually came up. I'm not, but I am, because I have had this desire to really want to know the truth around what's actually going on around, this topic in particular, but but also, what is actually, because I feel like it bleeds into bigger areas in my life, and I can feel it's like this kind of, and Els actually said this at the time. She said it's like you just kind of bring your friends along, and it's almost like you call up your posse and to engage this unloving behavior, and I can feel that. I could actually start to feel that that's actually what was happening, but I just didn't feel like I had the intellectual understanding of what it was, or what was actually happening. So the part also around that is that Elle said to me is that, and this takes me back to something that I shared in one of my earlier videos, is self-responsibility. One of the things that she said to me is that I'm very quick to I easily blame the spirits. Yes, I have spirit influence, but I need to take responsibility in the sin that I'm doing, in the choices that I'm making, and the choices that I have been making around that. And this sort of leads me back to the beginning of the first week was, and why it was hell was because I didn't want to feel my anger. And I've also got a lot of anger and I didn't want to feel it. And I still don't really want to feel my anger. I've started to embrace it more. But that's the ways that make the choice to continue to engage this unloving behavior. To agree with the spirit. So it's almost like I go, the feeling that I have is it's like, say I'm engaging with someone in a conversation or whatnot, and I have this feeling that, and I haven't quite worked it out yet, but I feel like something happens, or I have feelings inside of me that, want something from that other person, that then opens up the doorway to these spirits, and then I start to feel this feeling of I, you know, like to engage in body work or to kind of feel like I can help them. That's probably the most direct way, is like feeling like I can solve, like I can take them to their solution. Like I can lead them to their answer, and I can help them feel what they need to feel because I can feel what they're feeling. And it's very arrogant, and it's very I can feel like I have like this righteousness around keeping it as well. Um And so in that moment, I then make a choice to engage in that and go, yep, okay, I'm going to do this. And all the spirits that are, it's like, like Elle said, I call on my posse of friends, and they all kind of come in and start kind of abusing this other person as well, because I'm actually taking the unloving action, and it's like I agree with them, and that's what actually starts to happen, rather than me instead dealing with the emotion or the issue that comes up in that moment, and also choosing, and this is what I've started to just try to be more sensitive to, choosing to, notice when that happens inside of myself, like notice the feeling inside of myself of when they want to come in and when they want to influence, and obviously notice what I'm feeling, but also choose to not engage, because it would be like having a friend here being like, I want to abuse your friend, and me saying, yep, go for it. But I wouldn't do that if I had a friend here, or maybe I would, I don't know. Maybe that's what this is telling me. So why do I do it with them? So, and yeah, it's really fascinating. But, this also comes down to me not being humble. This is the other thing that Elle and I spoke about. So I've really had to feel and get real with myself and take responsibility for the fact that actually, like, I'm not loving. I don't know what love is. I don't know what love is, and I'm not loving people when I'm around them. And I don't have love for people. I don't have I don't know how to treat people. I don't want to also treat people lovingly, and I don't want to choose that. And that's what I'm choosing, and that's what I haven't wanted to see. And even just hearing all of that and feeling all of that, was really good, but it's like it sort of just broke this facade that I feel like, or another layer of my facade that I feel like I was still trying to engage with and hold on to. And just, how my actions are actually impacting how that's what I'm choosing for other people, how they're actually impacting other people around me in that way. And I got to a point where I just sort of felt like I wasn't to be. I had these feelings of like don't even engage with me, don't even, because that's the feeling that I had, was like, I feel like there's so much, it was, it was really, really unloving inside of myself. And, the reality of that was, it was most, it just felt like it was better to not engage with me, than to do that, like people not being around me. But, which is essentially the place that I've got myself into, is not, not actually really feeling like I have any friends, genuine friendships. Where I feel like people actually want to be around me and genuinely, care for me, like have care for me, and like me, like they like being around me. And it's just really starting to make more sense, because it's really starting to make more sense, because why would they, if I don't treat them lovingly? So I've what I've written down is like, my facade is wanting power and competition with other women, superiority, not wanting to be humble, like I know everything as well. That's something else that I've really greatly come in here with, is this feeling like, oh yeah, I know better. And I don't actually, like, I'm learning so much. It is a whole new way of relating to everything, even to myself. And that feeling that I know better is just, first and foremost, it's inhibiting me from actually really learning what I need to learn. And secondly, I feel like all of this is actually really keeping me away or safe from having just genuine, loving relationships and connections, which is what I, one of the things that I really desire. And obviously, that stems from a loving relationship with God as well. So yeah, that was a very, very big day. And then I remember that was on the Friday, and then yesterday I remember waking up yesterday morning and just feeling so angry and I didn't know why. And yeah, so instead of suppressing it, which, this is something that Elle said to me, is like making the choice to actually feel my anger, which logically I know, but the feeling inside of me was like that it was too hard, that I didn't want to feel my anger. And I remember even in my, in my family, gosh, I feel like there's so much anger. My parents have so much anger, especially with themselves, but also towards each other as well. And just so much hostility, and they kind of see, they don't believe in like conflict, or just like they don't believe in getting angry. They don't really believe in emotions, but they especially don't believe in anything like anger or conflict. Was a no-go. It was all like, there can't be any conflict. Everyone has to be like happy with each other. And it was always that. It was like, how can we be like happy with each other? And so, I decided this yesterday morning to feel my feelings, feel my anger. And I ended up having like an actual hissy fit, like a tantrum. That's what it felt like. And what came up was like so what I wrote down was I had a tantrum, just like a little child who didn't want to go somewhere, so like to Sunday school or to school, and her parents were making her go because it was good for her. That was the feeling inside of me that the tantrum felt like. And the feelings that came up was that, lots of feelings, but some of them were like, anger at God for making this program and making this an actual thing, making this concept. And then I realized that, my anger and my feelings were that I didn't want to actually go to volunteering after being so exposed yesterday, or the day before, should I say, on Friday. And the belief was that, and the feeling as well was, I don't want to see myself because seeing my sin is painful. And that was so felt, this feeling of like, I don't want to see myself because seeing my sin is painful. And probably more so feeling my sin is painful. And Jesus talks about this all the time, but the felt experience of it, to actually have it in my heart, was totally different. So volunteering was many things. I just had this whole time that I've been here is, during these things that I share, it's like I've just had this thing inside of me of like, okay, just keep taking action. Just keep taking action. Just keep, I know I don't want to go to this volunteering, but just go. Just show up. See what happens. Because my feeling was like, everyone's going to hate me. No one, like, and feeling so ashamed, and like really, really, really like embarrassed of my, like my actions and my choices. And I think that's something that is a point of difference in God's way, is that everyone understands that we all have these things that we're working through. And so at one point, one of the people that I'd sort of engaged this with, I could feel that they, everything gets spoken about openly as far as I'm aware. So, I could feel off of them that they knew about my sin and, these issues around sexuality and, what I'm engaging in is being really, really off, and that it was really off, and actually, so anyway, I could feel that they were just very cautious and quite wary of me and quite close, like just different relationship to how I'd seen them prior. But then there were a couple of points throughout the day, because we were doing Mother of Millions, which is such a great concept for anyone who's visiting, or even like is thinking about visiting. Mother of Millions is like really great. It's so great. It's essentially a program around there's this the weed is called Mother of Millions, and it's an invasive species that I don't know a huge amount about it, but it's an invasive species that isn't I don't think it's native to Australia, so it just like runs rampant. And so we've been weeding out this Mother of Millions. You can find more on the website if you go search it yourself, and it's great because it sort of reflects and represents, as we weed out this weed, it's reflecting, or I guess like sort of mirroring us removing our sin as well, because the person how it was brought into Australia was based off of sin as well. So it's a really great program. So anyway, there was a point throughout the day where I felt, where, one of the, one of these people came up to me and, she just, said, hey, Lauren, like Elle told me about, that she spoke to you about, what happened. And we just sort of got talking, and it was beautiful because we were able to talk about it openly and just know that it is there, rather than and that it's been discussed and that it's been addressed and made aware of, and now it's my choice to change it. And obviously she shared how she was looking at what her part was in it, like, what her law of attraction was within it. And it was just a beautiful thing. And this is the point of difference with Godsway, is that these conversations happen rather than things not getting spoken about and then feeling awkward around another person, or it's like you can feel feelings off of them that are funny and they can feel feelings off of you, but no one says anything. And I just had something to this stuff. I think I've got my sprinklers going off. But it was just really, really, really great. And so, so that was really good to just have these big issues come to the surface. And then this morning when I woke up, I've just had more sort of come through. I've been listening to some of the talks and just noticing these feelings in me of, because yesterday when I was out volunteering in the afternoon, we all sort of sit and we have lunch together and we chat, and I noticed that I felt really like shy and like I didn't, I was still feeling like just really actually like ashamed of myself, to be honest, I think. And I just unsure about what to do about that. And so I didn't really have much engagement with other people. There were some people, but not a huge amount, and not the people that, I regularly have engagements with. And the feeling that came up in me was that everyone was cautious around it. It almost felt like everyone knew about this secret or this sin that I had, and then everyone was kind of like steering clear of me because Lauren was the person to be like cautious around. And it felt really horrible and really unloving. And it wasn't true, but that was the feeling that I had. And so this morning, just really looking at my sin and the beliefs that I hold that create, the effects of my sin. And some of the beliefs around this also are like, or just some of the beliefs that I have are like, I'm the center of everyone's world. Like everyone actually really secretly likes me. Like, everyone likes me. Which is so not true, because I've actually really struggled to feel genuine friendships and to feel like I genuinely have just genuine connections with people actually wanting to get to know me and wanting to have a friendship with me. And also feelings of, everyone should think that I'm great, which kind of links into the entitlement feeling that I've mentioned in other videos as well. So everyone should think that I'm great and that I'm special. And when I don't feel these feelings off of people, when others don't think that I'm great, or it's not even that, but when I don't get these feelings off of other people, that's when I feel, and when I'm not the center of everyone's world, therefore everyone's not coming up to me and wanting to get to know me and all of the things, that's when I actually feel like everyone's treating me really unlovingly and everyone's being really unkind and horrible to me, which was what I was experiencing the day before. There's a lot. But I feel hopeful about it. I think for like the first time in like genuinely hopeful, or maybe faith is more I feel like I'm starting to develop more faith in being here and like living this way. And also, getting to I want to say like, I just have feelings that I don't want people to see me. I don't want people to really see the real me. And I don't want to really see the real me. So until I change that, it's not actually about anyone else. It's about me seeing the real me, because God already sees the real me. It's just I've got to see the real me. So it actually is so I just haven't found anything like this anywhere in the world at all. Anywhere in the entire world. Nothing has brought me this much truth, in a loving truth, I would say. And I know that sounds, it's not really truth if it's not loving, but just this much truth and love, and therefore faith and hope. Nothing that I've ever experienced, and I feel like I've experienced quite a bit, that is sustainable. I feel like that's one of the other things about this, is that because it is true and real, it therefore is sustainable. It will last. I think about Jesus and something that he shares about, God and God's creations and the world, is that if you strip away, I can't remember exactly what it says, but I think from memory he says something like, if you strip away everything that God didn't create, or no, in like X amount of years' time, if everything that God didn't create will have stripped away, it will have like dissolved or crumbled, or like it won't be left, and the only things that will be left is what God actually created. And that just feels like it's the same with what is true and real and therefore loving as well, is what remains and is therefore, has longevity, because it's real. And I just wanted to share something that really sort of landed for me, or changed the way I saw sin. One of the women there at volunteering, and I heard Jesus say it this morning as well on one of his talks, so I'll link it in the bottom below. But it's something like, we can't actually truly see, we can't actually truly make amends. Hang on, I wrote it down. We can't actually truly amend and see the damage that has been done to us if we don't see and take responsibility for the damage that we are now doing, which is actually our sin. So it's not about, going back into our childhood and going, okay, where did this wound come from, which is how we do things in the world now. But rather seeing how we are engaging in seeing all the unloving ways that we are actually engaging in life in, which then will tell us, truly give us more information about it in our childhood, where it came from, or, just where it came from, and like the impact that it actually had on us. So that was really, really cool. And I'll link the, it's a Spotify audio. I'll link it in the comments below so you can have a listen. I highly recommend it. He says it at the very beginning pretty much. So yeah, it just changed my life. It's like, oh, actually I can't really rectify the sin that's been done to me if I'm still creating the sin in the world. I have to stop creating the sin in the world and take responsibility for that in order to truly rectify that. Like, that's the only way that I can really actually understand it and clear it, and purify it, clean it up, bring it into love. So yeah, feels really good. So 3 more weeks left. I'll keep updating you as I go, and thanks for watching.